Alrighty. Welcome back.
I want to bring that word dismal back.
Oh, hang on. Let me find you first. Here we go. Go ahead.
This is all I'm going to say, and I'm going to shut up, which is really hard for me. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what happens in Washington. I don't give a damn about it. I live in New Hampshire. I care what happens in New Hampshire. Like Britain, if we can't save New Hampshire, none of the rest of it matters. True. So screw D.C., save New Hampshire. Let's focus on what's important to New Hampshire. And that is getting a Republican in the governor's office after 10 years. Because most likely we're going to get a Dem House and a Dem Senate. Because we've done this to ourselves. And the only firewall is a conservative Republican governor.
It's fine, because I don't want to spend any more time on the Trump thing. I want to move on.
Good. Let's talk about New Hampshire.
I want to move on to the...
I wanted one last thing.
All right, hurry up.
It isn't about Trump, and it isn't about Hillary. My main concern is now the actual electorate that have put them into those two positions. We look at how bad both of these people are, but the reflection is that they were voted in to be their nominees of those two parties. And when you look at the pair of them, you do have to wonder about the people voting for them. I understand burn it down on the Republican side.
They probably shouldn't have guns then.
And I look at...
We're going to talk about
profiling
guns
here? Come on.
Yeah, but you look at Hillary, who, for as much as what may be bad with Trump, Hillary is just as bad. But you look at the electorate going, I don't care if she lied. I don't care if she's done this. I don't care if she's been corrupt. I don't care if Trump's been corrupt. I don't care whether he's been lying on the whole campaign trail.
They should all immigrate to California.
They've been getting the votes from the electorate. And it goes back to our earlier part of the discussion of if our people don't understand our founding philosophy, then the phrase of our democracy is only meant for a virtuous people, I think that we are in the past being a virtuous people, and things are just going to go south. And I don't even think that we can save New Hampshire without a virtuous people. We may be a little bit better than some states, but for how much longer, given the progressive push to not be virtuous?
So we wanted to talk about marijuana, ATF.
Dude!
The chance.
Yeah.
Because these are more local with some, tendrils into the federal.
Well, keep on the grass.
But it sort of all wraps up together. Is whether or not the people you've elected and or appointed to manage the affairs of state are actually acting in your best interest, are of a quality that understand what needs to be done, what shouldn't be done, how best do we serve the people of this state. So, I've been getting grief for month, 2 months now, partly because I'm in a big fight with Smokin' Joe LaChance. Some of you may know this, although I think he's punching above his weight. And he's the father of the New Hampshire expanded Medicaid. I suspect that the board at the Elliott and some of the other guys said, this guy is sufficiently vainglorious to think that we're going to choose him out of 400, or however many representatives there could have been suckered into this, to be the face of expanded Medicaid. And you're going to go fight this fight. And he's a former cop, part-time cop in Bedford. He's thank him for his service. I don't know what it was, but apparently he came out of it disabled. And he's got like 11 master's degrees and other things if you look at his bio. But this guy, I've kind of been ragging on him because he says that expanded Medicaid is not going to destroy New Hampshire fiscally, and that it will not lead to a state income tax, which it will. Of course. There's just no question about it. So he decided that he was going to expose me. Not sure what that means, but regardless.
Yeah, good luck with that.
And so I'm thinking, well, this guy, David Booten retires, right? So I'm thinking, this must be it. They promised him the Senate seat. Is a good, solid hack vote in exchange for being the face of Medicaid. Well, I said, you know what, I'm going to try and stop that if I can. So in looking around and knowing that he's the face of medical marijuana in the state of New Hampshire and that he used it to kick some sort of opiate dependence that he had because he's a disabled veteran and this and that, and he's on the steps of the State House saying, I smoke dope a lot and I like it. It's on video. You can see it. So he's one of 60 some odd people who have been given from the Department of Health and Human Services a card for medical marijuana to treat whatever it is that ails him. So I'm thinking, gee, Joe, so you're drug dependent, okay? Are you allowed to have firearms? Okay, because we do have this whole issue with the federal gun laws.
Still saying that whole marijuana thing's illegal in junk.
Well, and funny thing, in 2011, September 21st, 2011, from the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, sometimes we forget the explosives, it says...
Yeah, but Muhammad never forgets the explosives.
That's right. Open letter to all federal...
It's never a good party without the explosives. Goes bang.
That's right. Open letter to all federal firearms licensees. And a federal firearms licensee is someone who's been given permission, sadly, from the feds to, in some cases, retail sell firearms or become a collector of certain firearms or be a gunsmith. So there's a whole category of FFLs. It says here, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives has received a number of inquiries regarding the use of marijuana for medicinal purposes and its applicability to federal firearms laws. The purpose of this open letter is to provide guidance on the issue and to assist you, a federal firearms licensee, in complying with federal firearms laws and regulations. A number of states have passed legislation under the state law to use the use or possession of marijuana for medicinal purposes, and one of these states issues a card authorizing the holder to use or possess marijuana under state law. During a firearms transaction, a potential transferee may advise you that he or she is a user of medical marijuana or present a medical marijuana card as identification of proof of residency. As you know, federal law, U.S. Code, paragraph 19G, subsection 3, prohibits any person who is, quote, an unlawful user of or addicted to any controlled substance as defined in section 101 of the Controlled Substances Act, blah, 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 from shipping, transporting, receiving, or possessing firearms or ammunition. Marijuana is listed on the Controlled Substance Act as a Schedule I controlled substance, and there are no exceptions in federal law for marijuana purportedly used for medicinal purposes, even if such use is sanctioned by state law. So, 2011, okay, and this was really in response to Colorado beginning to change its laws. This went to every federal firearms licensee in the state of New Hampshire. And one presumes they copied the Department of Safety and the Department of Justice on this. Well, in April of this year, I think the Department of Health and Human Services in New Hampshire just began issuing these medical marijuana cards to certain people, and Smokin' Joe, I think, was at the head of the queue and got it right. So, one, did the Department of Health and Human Services advise Smokin' Joe or anybody else of the impact of this on any of their rights, if you will? Whether we like the law or not, until we change the law, we abide by it. So, marijuana is a Schedule I drug. Anyone in possession of a medical marijuana card in the state of New Hampshire is deemed by them as a prohibited person. You cannot own, sell, possess, or buy a firearm or ammunition legally. So, if the Department of Safety knows this, and all hat no clue, I'm not sure about that, are they just sitting on this waiting to go sandbag people, okay, and put them on the list? Or does DHHS know about this and doesn't care? Worse, do they not know and are so sufficiently incompetent that all of a sudden this is an issue now and they're going, oh, gee, how are we going to deal with that?
Yeah, I think incompetence, right? You think?
Well, I don't know. I could see DHHS maybe not, but the Department of Safety, they certainly are clueless. But if they don't know, or if they ignored it, because there's another letter 4 years prior to this on the implications of mental illness.
Yeah, and that's my next thing.
2007.
Is that addicted? So if you have to take meds,
you're dependent on this for drug. You are presumed a user or addicted to federally prohibited
right, but there's
drugs.
two. So, yeah.
So
So
they're
addicted
forever
to.
banned.
That's
They're
right.
forever banned.
Yeah, okay.
So
Forever, not just temporarily.
will that apply then to anybody who's been prescribed opiates?
Yeah.
No, because those are prescribed legally.
But they're
For
far more
example,
dangerous
that's
than
not what it
cannabis.
says.
Far
Yeah,
more
they are.
addictive than cannabis.
This doesn't have anything to do with common sense.
Oxycodone is legal to be prescribed in New Hampshire.
Right.
Okay.
That's cannabis.
But that says
New
or.
Hampshire did not. No. New Hampshire didn't say we are going to, in spite of your prohibition, whether it's on, I don't know, sliced bread from back in the 40s. Think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. New Hampshire. The problem is federal law supersedes state law. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
And states let it.
And states let them. Yeah.
It doesn't have to. The states can reject
Well, you know
it.
what? Why don't you go talk to little all hat, no clue Sean Haggerty. Show him your medical marijuana card and say, screw you, take my gun. See what happens. And if DHHS doesn't provide people with this information, shame on them. Okay?
That's true.
Shame on them. But I'm getting all the flack because the ATF came up with this 5 years ago, and I've just talked about it.
Yeah.
Shh,
Yeah,
don't
right.
say anything. Shh,
Yeah.
shh, don't say anything.
Well, it's like, what do
I
they
had a guy,
say?
I had a
Every
guy, the head
day-
of Normal, down in the steps of the State House, say, huh, who cares?
Don't they say every day that, the government can come and arrest you for some felony
Yeah.
you committed that you didn't know you did? Well, here's another one. This
We-
one is more public and more obvious, and
They
they have
should.
a letter.
The feds, the state, should be advising, or if they're in the business of looking out for their citizenry, and that actions and laws have consequences.
So is Smoking Joe getting the hump that you're pointing this out to him?
He's I'm a crazy old woman.
Yeah, he really doesn't like you, does he?
You're missing the inference there, because getting the hump can be like being pissed off in some cases.
I know exactly what it means.
And of course, Smoking Joe was also the camel.
But he says that he's telling all his friends that I'm so mean for pointing this out,
Yeah.
and that oh my God, she's just a bitter old woman. Well, no, I don't smoke dope and shoot guns.
You just shoot guns.
I just shoot guns.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
here's the deal.
But the point is, either we are a nation of laws, or we're not.
We already established that we're not.
We are not a nation of laws. So is this fine? So I want to see somebody challenge
You know what you
this
do?
confiscation.
You know what you do? The next time he says something, you go, see something, say something.
I have.
You did do that?
Oh, no. I've said something.
Oh, I know, but I mean, that's the
No, to
phrase you
him.
use. You use the phrase, see something.
You
say something.
racist.
Because he knows.
You
He knows what that
xenophobe.
means.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does.
You know,
But
He is running for state. He's running for re-election in Manchester. What ward is that?
I don't know.
I don't know. So if you want a dope-smoking, gun-toting rep in the State House, other
That
than
likes
the one
Medicaid expansion to
that,
help
that
bring
loves
us.
Medicaid expansion,
And an
bring
income
us.
tax.
and an income tax,
Broad-based tax.
vote for Smoking Joe LaChance.
does he have a primary?
I think he does. I
Does he?
think I recall seeing that he did.
Really?
Somebody's
You'll
got to
have
look
to
into
look
that.
it up. I think I did recall seeing something.
I don't know. I don't have the list.
Does Smoking Joe?
But he's not
Well,
running for state
What,
senate.
Kimberly? What's up?
So
I
we'll
said
see.
he does, but I don't remember who it is.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see if he can take the oath of office.
Right.
Oh, there
Oh
you
my!
go.
Can he do that? I don't know.
Well, given how much disdain many of the holders of offices show for their oaths,
Yeah.
remember a couple of years ago there was the movement of honor your oath, and most of the Democrats said screw you, basically. We'll say the words, but it doesn't mean anything.
Totally.
Just like
Dave's not here, man.
just like they said, the Constitution is only a guideline.
fine.
Yeah, they
if it's
believe
only
that.
a
They
guideline,
teach that.
then
At best.
I'm going to choose what I want to.
Well, so
To what I want to
so
comply.
let us also be clear that federal laws are only supreme if they are pursuant to the Constitution. If they are not, the states have the rights to say the hell with that.
That's right.
For example, the Real ID Act, which until recently the state of New Hampshire said screw you about, and now has suddenly wimped out on it.
Yeah.
Of course.
So the state
because
of,
there's money attached.
Well, yeah,
because
and they
so,
were,
so the state
That's the real addiction.
Yeah.
That's the real opiate.
The power.
the crack
Is the money.
The crack of the leadership, as opposed to the opiate of the masses, is the federal money.
Sure.
You're right. But so here's the thing: in passing medical marijuana, in legalizing marijuana in Colorado, the state could have said that all federal laws pursuant to marijuana within these borders are hereby declared null and void, as they are unconstitutional, and we have chosen not to follow them. And at that point, they have freed at least state police and judiciary from any requirement to uphold those laws.
And we tried to get that passed in New Hampshire, that New Hampshire was not bound by federal firearms laws.
So we need to try it again.
But look at what happened in North Carolina when, what was the name of the city that decided to follow what Houston tried to do with the transgender bathroom stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And then North Carolina said, no, you are not going to be allowed to do that.
Right.
And then the federal Department of Justice and Department of Education said, unless you governor, who just signed this law 2 days ago, undo that law, we're going to withhold all kinds of money from you in retaliation.
Right.
I mean, that's part of, and you're right. 40%, 50% of our state budget here in New Hampshire is federal money.
Until we're ready to look them in the eye and say, stuff it, and keep the states' rights strong and suffer the bite that's going to take, we will stay in the position we are at, because it's at the lower, most community level where the state and the feds come in and tell you how you're going to teach your kids. It's at the bigger levels where, we've got to feed the hungry, we've got to feed we've got to help all these people. It's all connected to the power mongering of the behemoth federal government. And until states smarten up and dare them and say, we're not blinking, we're not blinking.
Do you think a state like California, who's now looking for a waiver from the feds to put illegal aliens on Obamacare, you think they care about getting it?
They probably don't, but maybe they're going. We can't project this on every state. We certainly have the ability in New Hampshire to have a better shot at this than California.
We're going to break. We'll be right back. We can continue this in the last segment, or we can pick something else because we're running out of time. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.